All right. We're doing a little guerrilla show here for everybody. So let's get this microphone turned on. Get a little Matty Belman added to the stage here. I think we're rolling, Matt. We're good. If you want to jump in, play back at lecture, we're going to have some fun. This is a good time. We've got a bonus 15 minutes of MLB for everybody here. So, yeah, there is that. Let's get some information out here for everybody. I have not sent out an all hands boost in a while on Discord. But let's get those folks in. We have a nice little 6-gamer for anybody looking for baseball, and you should. How did you fare with the Yankees today with their home run derby?
Well, I did not play enough of them, so not as well as if I had played them. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, my little conversation with myself was, 40% a judge. That feels like an awful lot to be doing in this situation. I think I'm just going to tamp everybody down to 20%. Oops.
Yeah, definitely a slate breaker. I mean, that was something to behold for sure. I played 6 lineups. I ended up with only 1 judge out of the 6. I had one lineup with like the 2 through 4, ended up changing some stuff when other lineups came out. I mean, honestly, not that it really would have mattered because you needed, I don't even know. I mean, maybe that lineup would be cashing, but the other problem is I didn't play Littell. I actually played some Rockies against him. And he's balling. So almost makes me feel better about not playing Yankees.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just happy I only had 11% or $50 worth of Nestor Cortez because that was not fun, but there we are. All right, let's have a little fun here. We're going to quickly just go over the slate. There are 6 games for MLB because of the way the start time worked. We requested to go earlier here, otherwise there wouldn't have been a show for this. So thank you for everybody that's coming in live. We appreciate that. And not to fear, we're going to get to all the NBA. There's only one game locking at 7 o'clock for NBA, so we'll get everything covered here. Let's just kind of hit high-level thoughts on pitchers. I'm sharing the top pitching tool here, Matt. It looks like the most popular options, no surprise, are going to be Roki Sasaki, who is making his 2nd appearance of the season. He came over from Japan this offseason. He was their top overall draft pick in the NPB, the Nippon Professional Baseball League. His team actually sat him out his first year just to kind of help him build up some stamina and kind of grow or mature into his athleticism, which was interesting. But he did have 4 full years there, made about 60 starts. His calling card, Matt, was in high school. He threw 101 miles an hour. Do you know whose Japanese record he broke with that fastball?
Ohtani?
Current teammate with the Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani. Of course, it was Ohtani. But that's kind of the main information for him. Mariners are again looking popular. They've got who is it today? I think it's Miller starting today. Bryce Miller. He's in his 3rd season. He's looked really, really good as well. We know that there's a lot of power with Oakland, particularly against right-handers, but there's not a lot of on-base percentage. So, you can do a little home run hunting there. But what do you like here for our pitchers? I'm assuming, let me make sure why is that screen not showing? Well, maybe I'm sharing the wrong screen at this point. Let me get back to that for everybody, the correct screen. But what do you like here for our top 2 pitchers?
So another slate where the pitching options are pretty murky. I mean, the guys up top are rightfully getting love because I think Sasaki and Miller look like the 2 best options, and they're not even expensive. Like, they're cheap. So Makes sense to me. Wouldn't even be surprised if those guys are even higher owned and more projecting, kind of like Littell is today. I don't have many holes to pick in them considering their price tags. I think that like all the stuff that you would want to say against them is kind of for naught because they're cheaper than they should be, especially considering the spots they're in. So I don't love the ownership. They're over-owned based on our tools. That never really bothers me for pitchers in MLB because you can just get different, weird, however weird you want with stacks. But it's worth noting that they are pulling more ownership than all the guys around them. And I do like them more than those other guys, but I don't think drastically more. But for me, I'll play them and I'll mix in at least one other guy. There's a cheap guy I really like that's not getting any ownership. So we'll get to him. But yeah, I mean, I wish I could pick more holes in Miller and Sasaki, but they're just too cheap to really do so, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's where coining or borrowing a phrase that T. McBee, Terry McBride coined is we're going to be talking a lot about the Mariners pitching staff all season because again, it's one of the best and deepest in the league, and we're going to talk about picking on the Athletics, but we're also going to talk about them being in a both sides-er situation a lot. Even against good pitching here, because the direct leverage is just nice. Now, full stacks, maybe we don't need to get there, but short stacks, 3-mans, 2-mans, 3-mans, I think is something that we can consider there against Miller on that one. The only other pitcher I felt that stood out today is another one of those both sidesers, and that's Spencer Arrighetti. He came on last year onto the scene, solid strikeouts, but he also had some walk issues, and he has a little bit of power. He can melt down from time to time. So I think this is another one of those where you're going to want to be looking at each option here. And again, for those of you, this is our first Saturday baseball show, and it's just going to be a short one here. It's important to understand that baseball, anything can happen. The proverbial Mike Trout 0 for 5 or Mike Trout 2 home runs and a stolen base, that disparate outcomes. So we were talking in chat earlier today in a couple different channels about, is there a fantasy point per dollar number that you look for in baseball? And my answer was no, you can't, because just Trout 0 for 4 versus Trout in a home run could be 0. It could be a 3-run homer, which is 18 points. He could be no hits, but got on base twice. The fielder stole a base and had two scored runs. But, he didn't get any hits. Your range of outcomes is just all over the place. And it's a very limited event-based sport. For the hitters, for the pitchers, it's a little bit different. But again, anybody can melt down on any given day, such as we saw what happened with Nestor Cortez, who was locked in for a lot of last year when he was with the Yankees with this funky arm slot delivery there. That just wasn't working today. So Arrighetti is the other guy I'm kind of interested in, but I also think the New York Mets are a terrific stack. So I will leave you with that. Is Arrighetti the pitcher you're looking at, or what else do you have?
No,
your cheaper guy.
He's not. I get Arrighetti here. I don't think he's a bad play, but I'd rather play especially Bryce Miller. I will say, going back to Sasaki real quick, I am a little bit concerned on his pitch count. I mean, he didn't throw that many pitches in his debut. Easing him into action here. That said, he's the only guy on this slate that's already made a start, or one of 2 guys that have made a start. So I get it. I think Arrighetti is a fine play, but he doesn't really stand out to me for any particular reason. The guy I actually like a lot is his counterpart, Griffin Canning. So,
Griffin Tomato Canning. Here we go.
So a couple things here. One, a few things, I should say. He's really cheap. Second cheapest pitcher on the slate. The matchup isn't great, but it's not as bad as it was last year when Kyle Tucker was in this lineup and you add more righties like Paredes and Christian Walker. So I think Canning's in a decently good spot, especially when you consider his price tag. And he was awesome in spring training. I think it's a bit of a fool's errand to really buy into spring training stuff. And I know that I'm going to get bitten by this one, but man, he was really, really good. Ton of K upside, changed some stuff within his pitch arsenal. I'm buying it. I don't think you can buy every spring training narrative or every result clearly. I mean, we've seen Judge struggled in spring training, 3 home runs today. Jackson Churio hit 500 in spring training, and on opening day went 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts. So, like, you really have to take spring training stuff with a grain of salt, but I'm buying it with Griffin Canning. He was borderline dominant as far as his K upside, and at 6,700, I'm going to ride it. He's my favorite pitcher on the slate, price and ownership considered.
All right. Wrapping up just a few other notable names here, and then we'll talk stacks, and then we'll get into basketball, guys. This is the whole reason we started early, was to get in a little bit of baseball, since there's competing lock times here, and we weren't going to do a full show. There wasn't going to be anything, but we volunteered to come on and do this.
Yeah.
So please do hit that like button, guys. Come on. Brandon Pfaadt and Shota Imanaga are going against each other. Roof is open in Arizona. It's open for this whole homestand. That's one thing that we want to keep in mind now that they've got that working in. It was a couple years ago that they didn't open or close it for the majority of the season, if not the entire season. That issue was taken care of, so they were opening and closing it again the last years. But this is one where it's 2 really good offenses. Could either guy handle the opposing team? Sure. Could either guy get scuffed up? Absolutely. But this is the fun with baseball here. The other thing we want to remember is a lot of times in pitchers, even though they're going to end up going, most of them are ramped up to go for between 80 and probably low 90s pitches. If it's a rough outing, if it's tough, if they're nibbling at the plate, if their control isn't there, if the calluses aren't where they're expecting them, etc., they can burn through their pitch count before they get to that 5th inning. But expectation here is with almost everybody on the slate is going to go at least 80 pitches, and some of them are going to push towards the mid-90s on that one. What are you thinking here for stacks if there's nothing else here for pitching on our 12-game slate? Or probably 12-team slate, 12-team player pool.
I agree with you on both Pfaadt and Imanaga, like good pitchers in tough spots. Imanaga's the better pitcher, probably. Yeah, he's the better pitcher. I like Pfaadt a lot, but Imanaga's the better pitcher. He's in a tougher spot, though. I'm not going to use many lefties against Arizona this season. I don't think he's a bad play, especially at his ownership, but I like the guys we talked about more. As far as stacks go, I like the Mets. They're now tops in the top stack tool. It's pretty jumbled. I don't think that there's like really one team that stands out. There's no cores. The Dodgers look good, but they're overowned. If I had to say right now, my favorite stack, I'm going to say the Mets.
Okay. That's kind of where I landed as well. I broke it down in the article today. It's one of those where you got to talk through all these things, but they have 765 million reasons to be better this year, because that is with Juan Soto. They've got Francisco Lindor, who is just outstanding as the switch hitting wizard leading off. Mark Vientos banished Brett Beatty to the minor leagues for most of last year. He came on strong. Yeah. Beatty's back up this year. Yeah.
And he raked in spring. So just another
He did.
note.
He did. I gave up on him in my deep dynasty league I'm in with T McBee. So I'm sure Beatty will have a good year. You've got Jesse Winker that's floating around. Tyrone Taylor, I'm assuming, made the lineup. And then Pete Alonso. And that doesn't even get to Brandon Nimmo, who is now batting cleanup. This is one heck of a lineup. It's not the LOL Mets anymore. So I think they're a good team. The other one that I also liked is the new look Boston Red Sox. So they have Alex Bregman in the mix now. Trevor Story, he was on the team last year, but he was hurt for almost the entire season. So while he's healthy, that makes things interesting. Weiler Abreu gets bumped down in the order because all these guys are healthy, and then Jarren Duran leading off. This is a really strong game going against Tyler Mahle. Mahle was a talented guy, but he's lost essentially the last 2 years with injuries. So he's thrown, I think he made 9 starts over the last 2 years, something like that. He's now in his age 30 season, so things are a little bit rough. I don't mind attacking him in this one, and he was one of my favorite pitchers back when he was with the Reds. Kind of lost it here. But anything else you want to mention other than I have recommended Christian Walker going against Griffin Tomato Canning as my wager of the day today for more than 1.5 bases. Sorry.
Well, that just makes me feel better about Canning. So there we go. No, I'm just playing. I mean, a lot of canning is the ownership and price. I mean, it's just what it is. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of offenses look pretty good because there are no like aces on this slate. I think you can make a case for literally every offense on the board because even the Tigers and A's of the world, they don't look good. But Miller and Sasaki, at least to this point, aren't pitchers where I'm like, you can't ever use bats against them.
All right, that is going to conclude the baseball portion of our show. I've put up on the screen here you can get through April 3rd, you can get all of our MLB tools for $1 if you use promo code CYCLE. So you can still get them for tonight. So the 29th, 30th, 31st, you can get them for 6 more days for just $1. Jump on in there, get those. And then when we have competing lock times like we do tonight, you'll have the keys to the kingdom. You'll have everything that you need. All righty. We're going to talk NBA now, Matt. So let me change our screen share here. Let's go to the Stokastic tools. Going to, let's see, the contest generator because I want to share with you guys the data hub. And let's get some of these columns here. So we have one team or one game starting with the early lock here, Matt. We've got Washington. Why is that working? Sorry, team. We've got Washington hosting the Brooklyn Nets. Both teams are kind of, well, Washington's tanking unabashedly. The Nets are kind of tanking / in asset protection mode here, but we have, just shenanigans all over the place. What do you want to do with our first game here? We have De'Ron Sharp out. We have Russell is out. And then Clowney, I think, is still questionable. And then the Wizards are without Middleton, no Gill. And I think that's about it for their shenanigans. Oh, no, Keyshawn George. Sorry, Keyshawn George.
Have we gotten their starting lineup since we've been on?
I'm just getting over to that info. No, we do not have that yet.
So things will change probably depending on what their starting lineup is, as we've seen kind of all week. But as of now, per the tools, both centers look good. Sarr continues to play well. Mid-tier play that looks good. 6,600, no problems with it. Not a priority, but solid look. And then Vucevic, 4K, really nice price tag, especially for his 25-plus point projection. Coming in as the highest leverage player in the tools, too. This is one just where if he's starting, I think he's going to look even better even though we probably haven't projected to start. I think he'll definitely be higher owned. And if he's not starting, I don't know if I feel comfortable playing him at all in like 1 to 3 lineups. After that, probably Colby Jones, 3,500. Also coming in with really nice leverage. He's cheaper and doesn't take up a center spot, so I care less about him coming off the bench. I'm not excited about him or any of the Wizards, to be completely honest, but Jalen Martin, 3,100, fine with it. Champagny, if you want to like not spend down on the Wizards and go to a kind of an actual player, I'm fine with that at 4,800. I don't see any priorities on Washington unless Vucevic starts, but again, it'll change depending on what they run out there.
Yeah, and we're at that point in the season where it's good for the hesitation there on Vucevic. He had the random DNP. Now, in the last game, we probably should have seen that coming but even then they hadn't really dusted off Rashawn Holmes in 5 or 6 games. He had gotten DNPs. So we've seen this with Champagny on the Wizards. He went from starting to a bench role to a DNP, etc. It's hard to trust just some of these rotations, and everybody's in DGAF mode at this point deep in the season. So we forget there was some other player that took a 0 that we had projected, not as a starter, but we had projected for about 17 minutes. The same night that Vucevic went out, that when he didn't play, I had both of them around where the field was. Yeah,
that was like 2 weeks ago.
No, Vucevic was a DNP 3 days ago.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the one 2 weeks ago because it happened.
No.
Weeks ago also.
Yeah, so but it's in kind of this rotation here. So when you try to set up, because they don't want to burn him out.
I got you.
He's someone they kind of like going forward. So just so why are we talking about Vucevic? He's a good fantasy producer, point per minute. He's someone that would be probably a ninth man on a lot of teams. Think of him as the equivalent of like a Moritz Wagner, who once upon a time was on the Wizards. He's a decent front court rotation.
I totally disagree with that. Disagree with that. I think that he's getting run because the Wizards are awful. I mean, Mo Wagner's a piece on a playoff team. Like this guy,
if he was healthy.
Yeah, but Vucevic is like the 18th man on the Wizards. Like he puts up decent DFS scores, but I don't like he's not getting any run for any playoff team in my eyes.
Okay. Well,
I know he's had some decent DFS games, but like the Wizards are so short on talent that like he's a big man who can like do some things, but like I don't know. I don't see it personally.
All right. Do you want to jump on playback there?
Yeah, I had asked to.
Okay. I think it is. Thank you for chat for getting us squared away here. A lot of moving parts here. There we go. So this is always the fun part. We don't have to agree on everything. People are like, oh, well, you guys don't like each other or whatever. No, this is sports. We're putting our hard-earned money behind this.
I love EMac, and I disagree with a lot more that he says. I don't bring it up, but this one I had to draw a hard line. Not going to insult my boy Mo Wagner. He's not even my boy. Cleveland hates him by saying that Vucevic is like a comparable NBA player. Just no.
All right. We'll see. This is funny. This reminds me of Josh Engelman planting the flag on Chris Middleton, who then essentially broke down over the next 4 years after he was like, no, he's the guy. And not picking on Josh. He had other great calls like Spencer Dinwiddie, probably not really being a good NBA fifth guard at this point. All right, that was an awful lot of time for a team that we're hardly going to play any players from. Let's look at their counterparts here. Is there anything from Brooklyn that you find interesting? This Drew Timme, I'm just going to say it like that because that to me is how it is spelled. What do you like here from the Nets?
Yeah, so another murky squad here. That's it. Yeah, so really good spot for the Nets. I mean, you always want guys against the Wizards. It's hard to really decipher between the Brooklyn guys though into who you really want. Trendon Wofford projects well. Totally good with him at 5,300. Tyrese Martin, I don't play a lot of him, but he's 4,100 and looks good in the tools from a projection and leverage standpoint. So I could dig me some Tyrese Martin today. Keon Johnson, another mid-tier play I'm fine with. It doesn't stand out. Looks pretty murky after that. Your boy Timmy, I'm not even seeing him in the tools. Is he projected for any run at all?
So I think he's only on FanDuel.
Oh, he's not. Okay, so he might eat into some other guys. Like, He's a guy, if you remember him in college, I mean, he is a really good offensive player. And he was putting up big, big numbers in the G League before he got called up. I think he had a double-double in like his first – did he have a double-double in his first game with the Nets? Or has he played a game with the Nets?
Give me one sec. Basketball reference and game logs. I should be sharing the screen, but I was on the big monitor. So he has appeared in one game. And you are correct. He did get an 11.10 rebound double-double in 25, just shy of 25 minutes. I
would be playing him
yesterday
a ton on FanDuel. I don't know his price tag, but if you were on DK and 3K, I think he would be a really, really good play. I mean, he's already shown you in 25 minutes he can 10x that salary, and tonight he gets the Wizards. So kind of stinks he's not on DK. And honestly, for me, it muddies the water on all their big men. I don't think he's like a long-term like answer for them anywhere, but I think he's going to get run while he's up, and he's going to have the ball in his hand. So I'm kind of good on Brooklyn because of that.
Okay. He is power forward in 3,500 on FanDuel. We are projecting him to be on about 46% of all lineups with an optimal rating of
I'm playing
2%.
Yeah, he looks like the best play on the slate. I mean, at 3,500 with power forward eligibility, like I think there's massive upside at that price, and he's projected for just a decent score and looks that good.
All right. Shout out to the NBA for giving us a news dump of all sorts of things that are happening on Sunday. That is not really helping us for today. Let me just double check and see that nothing snuck in. Other than Lonnie Walker will be available. He's missed the last 3 or 4 games. He was in the concussion protocol and then was dealing with a sore neck. Who else is? That's really the only viable piece for today. All right, let's go on to our next game here because now things get a little bit interesting. It is that Philadelphia 76ers. They are hosting the Miami Heat. Sixers are 8-point underdogs at home, depending on your side of choice, between a 214 and a 216 implied point total here. Miami is going to be without Andrew Wiggins, Duncan Robinson, Kevin Love, and Nikola Jovic. Alec, that is also questionable. He has started the last 2 games, but he is dealing with a sore back. So with all those guys out, we could get a newly minted starter if he's going to be out or someone returning to a starting role. And then for Philadelphia, they're missing all the guys that they've been missing for the last couple of weeks. But Walker is back. What are you liking here? Because this is an important game for Miami. They're basically 1 game behind Chicago. We'll talk about Chicago because it's an important game for them tonight too. But they're in the 9-10 seed here. Whoever ends up as the 9 seed hosts the 10 seed in the opening round of the play-in tournament. So it's this is actually something to play for both teams. And each team is within 4 games, I think, of being the top team in the play-in tournament. Now, each team has about 9 games left. So this next 3 games are kind of must-win territory for them to either Chicago or Miami to have a chance to climb up into the top half of the play-in tournament. So I would think everything's a full go for both of those teams today. What do you like for this matchup here with Miami in Philly?
A lot to like about Miami here. They might be the best-looking team on the slate. I had FanDuel pulled up, but DraftKings, it's the same. Bam and Bam and Hero look really, really good for their price tags in this spot. They're over-owned. And I think that, as always, with guys like in the 8K plus range, there are always going to be pivots. Now, it's a bit of a smaller slate, and we don't have as many guys. So that's why I think the ownership is really pumped up on them. I have no arguments there. I think playing one of them, both of them, is totally in play. Haywood Highsmith looks good from a value perspective. 3,400. He's not the greatest fantasy producer, but great spot, cheap price tag. Things could change depending on injuries, etc. And then Khalil Ware, he had looked like the best Miami option for a while. Now he looks like, a tertiary guy, but at 5,800 in this spot, I think he's got upside. So I like Miami. I think Kyle Anderson, if you want to get real weird, at 3,100 is worth keeping in your pool if you're playing 150 or something like that. Yeah, there isn't one guy I'm like, you have to play for Miami, but they have a lot of guys that I could and would play.
I think it should be no surprise here, but Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero are the top 2 plays that you want to be looking at here. The key thing is upside and floor. Adebayo has the better floor, still has upside, but he has the better floor. Hero has that attainable upside. He's getting to 50 fantasy points or flirting with it more often than what Bam has been doing, because with all the various people who are out, Hero has to pick up a huge part of the scoring load here. So he should be approaching upper teens for field goal attempts, maybe even as many as 20 tonight in this matchup. So he is the guy that I like the best among these players. With Philadelphia, their salaries are kind of where they're appropriate for being the understudies who now are getting regular run. So when we look at someone like Quentin Grimes at 9,100, a little bit tougher to like him at this standpoint, because he would be like a direct pivot from Giddey, who has also seen a significantly increased salary, but Giddey's got the better matchup, and just the safer, more proven option, at least from a DFS perspective. Defense, well, that's a different story. But for someone like Grimes here, it's tricky to get excited about him, even with that volume that he had been getting. And I think he loses a little bit with Walker coming back, just at least from an offensive opportunity with one more, I don't know that we say capable scorer, but one more scoring option. that re-enters the mix here. I wouldn't, we're not crossing them out of our player pool, but there's a reason they're all sub 5% here on DraftKings and FanDuel. I think let's take a peek here. I think it's a similar situation for Philly. Is there anybody you want to call out?
So I don't think Philly looks good at all here. I think they look like one of the worst teams on the slate. Price is up, guys coming back. Edwards has been phenomenal. I don't think he's an awful play at 5,700, but that's about the best I can say about him. I mean, their price tags are up, and these guys aren't very good in general. So Philly looks pretty poor to me, at least here. Muddy waters all over their rotation. Price tags up. I'm good.
All right. And for those of you that missed the first part of the show, we do, because someone was asking me, when are we doing baseball? It's like everybody was angry that we started earlier. Not everybody. A lot of people were thankful. We appreciate that. Hit that like button. Always helpful. Quite a few people.
I cannot believe that
there's no basketball. You guys showed up early to talk baseball. You jerks.
I can't believe that anyone, while the baseball was going on, was actually upset that we weren't talking basketball yet when we literally came on early just to talk some MLB. But it just goes to show you cannot please everyone, no matter what. And no good deed goes unpunished, EMac.
I know, but here we're going to try to give everybody 6 days of all the baseball suite, the entire set of Stokastic baseball tools for just $1 for the next 6 days. And that goes each day, that disappears because there's a hard stop on April 3rd, but you get it for $1. Buy it today, it's $1. Buy it tomorrow, it's $1. If you bought it on opening day, it would have been $1. Jump on in, use promo code CYCLE. Not psycho, cycle. Although I am psycho for baseball. Next game here, Matt, we have Dallas Mavericks at Chicago. I mentioned why this is an important game for Chicago. They are approximately 3-point home favorites. Seems like a closer game, but is closer than it ought to be. But that's the difference you get when you have someone like Anthony Davis, who is going to be available tonight. He is at least making the game more competitive here. Let's start off with Chicago. They're a little more interesting to talk about here. You have Josh Giddey, who has just been insane, both with this production and his salary. 9,200 on DraftKings, 9,700 on FanDuel. In his last 13 games, he's averaging 35 minutes, almost 15 field goal attempts, sinking over half of them. And that includes a 52% success rate on 4.5 3-pointers per game. He has 3 triple doubles in this time frame, including 2 of his last 3 games. Both of those were at the expense of the Lakers. In this stretch, he's averaging almost 23 points, 10.5 boards, 9.2 rebounds, and 2.4 combined blocks and steals. Cover the name. Look at the production. He's worth that salary. This is a matchup that he should be able to exploit. Dear God, a $9,200 and $9,700 Josh Giddey. We are definitely in March Madness for the NBA.
I don't even think this is a March thing. This is just who he is when he's the number one option. And this is what it is when he's making threes. So I'm no longer I can't even believe we're paying this for Giddey. This is just who he is when he's making threes again. And he's the number one option. Chicago's in a little bit of a quandary in that they're going to have to pay him big money. But, man, he has been spectacular for them. You're playing Giddey tonight in DFS. I mean, at 9,200, he projects for close to 60% ownership. Again, you can always make cases to fade guys that expensive that are going to be really popular. But there's a reason he's going to be really popular. He projects very well for this slate. We don't have a ton of spend up options. He projects for more fantasy points than Jason Tatum, who's 1,000 more than him. So I think that kind of tells you all you need to know. Only 7 less fantasy points than Luka. That's where we're at right now with Josh Giddey, and I'm completely buying it. I think he's a guy you can lock. I'm more on team lock Giddey than fade him personally, and it's not even close.
The L word.
Not even close. If I was playing 150 and you said I either have to lock him in every lineup or play none, I'm locking him in every lineup, not even think twice about it.
All right. I have zero issues for that. If we had a picture of him, he would have been in a Bulls uniform. He would have been the cover boy on today's article for the free DFS building blocks article. There are other options. We have Kobe White, who magnificent hair. He ended up being the cover boy. I'm always jealous of the hair. Once upon a time, my hair was
He's also been
luxurious.
Spectacular. I'm kind of scared of this Bulls team right now. Like, I think they're good.
The defense is going to that's what's going to get, break the hearts of their supporters. But with Kobe White, since Levine and DeMar DeRozan have been away, he has really come into his own over his last 11 games. He is averaging 30.2 points per game. That's like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, elite level scoring now. Alexander and Antetokounmpo and last year Embiid, those guys were doing it for the full season, but 11 games and 30 points per game. That's pretty darn good. 4.4 rebounds, 4.1 assists, 36 to 37 minutes. That's pretty decent. You've got Herter and Williams. Williams is finally healthy again. They're both back in the mix. You've got, which is cramping the style a little bit there, of Matas Buzelis. So I think he is someone you can still play him on Yahoo if they even launched contest today. The secret side has just kind of stopped caring. They're taking over for FanDuel in that aspect. He's $13 over there. It appears that they've hard-coded his salary. You can play him there. I wouldn't really be that interested in him on DraftKings or FanDuel. I'm playing all three sites tonight in both sports. This is going to be fun here in a few minutes. But Kobe White is key. Last guy we'll throw out there, and you can carry us through the rest of this one. What do you think about Vucevic?
I like the other guys more. Full stop. Like, I think he's in play, but like Giddey, I think looks like a priority for me. I've been playing a lot of Kobe White, so the price tag doesn't scare me off at all. Vucevic is more boom or bust than he used to be. Like, just at this time of year with how the Bulls are constructed right now, he can crush this price tag, but he's also more volatile than you'd expect. So I think that the ownership, it's low. I think he's a nice way to get contrarian with the Bulls. But again, there's a reason it's low. So I think other players in his price range look better. But he's a nice contrarian pivot. I'll give him that, no doubt.
All righty. For those of you following along for baseball, we did get that Detroit lineup. So we have all lineups in, which is going to be helpful for me because I'm going to kick off behind the scenes using these Stokastic sims to get my DraftKings and FanDuel lineups ready for baseball. If you guys so choose, you could be following along as well with that. Promo code CYCLE, just $1, gets you all of the Stokastic baseball tools through April 3rd. Next game here, Matt. The Lakers at the Grizzlies. You have Rui Hachimura back in our lives. He is probable after getting a maintenance day after his lengthy absence. And then you have Austin Reeves, also probable. He is just dealing with a sore ankle. On the other side, we are awaiting to find out what is going on with Memphis here, which is without a head coach and a couple assistants after the surprise firing there of Taylor. What was his name? Taylor Jenkins, something like that.
Yeah, Jenkins.
Morant has missed the last 6 games with a hamstring, still dealing with that sore shoulder, and he's a little bit salty about how the offense has changed. So apparently the GM said, yeah, this is all my call. I didn't listen to the players. I made the decision by myself. Sounds like we have a rudderless ship in the making here. What do you want to do with this game? Start us off with the big 3 on the Lakers.
So I think the Lakers, Reeves, with the other 2 healthy, when his price is not like really discounted, it's going to always be really tough to get to because he's clearly the third wheel in that show. As far as Bron and Luka go, don't love him here. I mean, I like Bron a lot. He's not getting a ton of ownership. I don't think that either of these guys like project amazing. So I don't think either of them are must plays by any means. Shai looks better. He's getting more ownership, but he does look better. Giddey obviously looks better. And at some point, you can't just play all the high priced guys. We talked about the Miami guys. I think if you're getting off a little bit of the chalkier build and not playing like the Hero and Bams, then I think getting to one of the Lakers guys makes some sense. They're both coming in with nice leverage, which I like. Luka looks probably too expensive for his projection. So does Bron, to be honest. But we know both those guys can get there on any given night. One of them, both of them. So yeah, I don't have any like strong takes on those guys except for that they're in play. I would struggle to say the same about Austin Reeves, though.
All right. For everybody telling me that I'm showing a baseball on the screen, I know I can't figure out where the basketball one is. We're going to survive. We're going to get through this together. I promise. These trying times, these first world problems, we're going to get through it together. Anything else from this game? I'm just going to let the tools tell me what to do on this one. I don't have strong feelings all the way around, aside from what you have mentioned.
Yeah, more with you than against you there.
Yeah, it's just we'll see, because dear God, it's gonna be a giddy kind of night. I'm feeling giddy. Let's go to. Oops, I didn't change that. Too many screens up. Oh, and hopefully, see, when I keep changing, this is gonna wear out my available random access memory, and Matt may end up doing the show solo for a minute if I get the blue screen of death again. Let's hope that doesn't happen, because we're now going to talk about the Boston Celtics in San Antonio taking on the Spurs. We have the Spurs as 12-point underdogs here. Boston will be without Al Horford and expected sixth man of the year award winner Peyton Pritchard. Tatum is probable. San Antonio is basically running out the same crew they have for the last fortnight here. Do you know what a fortnight means in that context, Matt? It's a measurement of time. It's a measurement of that is 2 weeks, not to be confused with the video game.
Thank you for that.
What are you thinking here about Boston? You mentioned Tatum coming in under Giddey. That's probably because Tatum, in theory, may not be needed for a full complement of minutes tonight. Is that impacting what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, Boston looks pretty poor from a projection standpoint at their price tags. Tatum projects for under LeBron also, who's a little bit cheaper than him. Both those guys under Giddey, but the fact remains that I think Boston is tough to get to here. It's kind of always with NBA DFS. Like, some teams look really, really good and then others don't. Boston is one that doesn't. Now, it doesn't mean you can't get there in GPPs, because Tatum can always get there, Porzingis, etc. But nothing for me at this moment is like, I need that piece from Boston. If I were playing one lineup, I wouldn't get to anything from Boston, and it probably wouldn't even be close.
Yeah, the one guy I was interested in early today was Peyton Pritchard, because he usually gets a little bit of extra run in these situations, but he has not had a game off in quite some time. He pretty much has that sixth man of the year locked up. He is the only one with, I think it was like minus 800 or minus 600, and nobody else was even really close for that one. So giving him the night off totally makes sense. Yeah, Luke Cornett. But we have so many other center options, even from a fantasy point perspective or a fantasy point per dollar ratio. Here, it doesn't make it overly exciting for him. When we turn our attention to the San Antonio side, they're shuffling things up yet again. Bismack Biyombo re-entered the starting lineup. You had Jeremy Sohan back coming off the bench. It seems like maybe Devin Vassell is the main trustworthy player who's approaching 30 minutes most nights, but really not much beyond that. And now it's in a tough matchup. So even though it's at home, I have a hard time thinking that they're going to best the Celtics in this situation, which just kind of makes it tough to like any of the Spurs. Is there anything else from this matchup that you would like to call out?
No, I think San Antonio, just because of their tags, look better than Boston. You know, you feel not good about them here, but they project better than Boston does, just considering how expensive Boston is. Keldon Johnson would be the one piece that I think you could argue as a priority. I'm not going to make that argument, but he looks good. 4,700, too cheap for him, coming off the bench. So, you know, playing against more bench guys, and it's easier for him to get there with, you know, less usage on the floor for the Spurs while he's out there. So he'd be my favorite piece probably of this entire game, which is pretty scary. CP3 looks good, but I'm not playing him. Castle, too expensive, but a lot of guys in this slate are too expensive. So you kind of have to take that with a slight grain of salt, if nothing else.
Yeah, and then on FanDuel, when you got Timmy out there, it loosens things up just a little bit, but we can see that with on the screen here, the popularity, nobody's in double digits. I agree with you on Keldon Johnson being the most interesting. I was actually taking unders on Devin Vassell for 20.5 PRA. That number has the juice on that has gotten a little more than I'd want to lay at this point, but I think if you can still get that on a pick'em side, I'd be okay with the under on that. We can see that 4 players are between 10 and 15% on DraftKings. That's fine. Nothing crazy there, except a sprinkling of these guys in the player portfolio. That takes us to, let's see. Ooh, are we already on our final game of the night? Wow, we're going to have a lot of time for questions, and we can go over some of what the tools are telling us here. I don't want to say it's a cut and dried slate because God only knows what's going to happen, but we're crossing out teams left and right here because in the absence of what's going, John Morant, we don't know who the surprise scratch is going to be yet tonight, etc. We're running in a lot of directions, but because we've done a good job being economical, we may end this a little bit early, 5 minutes or so, just because we're both playing NBA and MLB. So we want to get that in for our lineups. That is. All right, let's hit the final game of the night here and then see what we have for questions. We've got the Indiana Pacers at Oklahoma City. No Mathurin for the Pacers. OKC has been without Ousmane Dieng for a little bit. Aaron Wiggins is out. This will be his 3rd game that he has missed with an Achilles issue. They are resting Chet Holmgren here. I was looking at the under on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I got it at 48.5 PRA. It's it has gone down to like 46.5 on most of the sites, and that's right around where we have him right now. We are still projecting him for significant scoring. Everything's right on that break point for looking at the unders. The only reason I was am still considering the unders here is because the defense is so good here. I think they can throw a curveball, baseball reference there, at the Pacers and mess up what they're going to try to do tonight. So I was liking some of the unders, and in particular went after SGA, but I think he's one of the better fantasy point producers here, right? As Matt mentioned, we're looking at LeBron, Doncic. We've already talked a little bit about Tatum. We're elevating the likes of Josh Giddey. SGA is one of those guys that just the raw fantasy points are just one of those guys. He's the presumptive MVP at the moment, but he's just one of those guys that we're going to have to pay to get those raw points into our lineups. But you can also still take the unders on the sports wagering world. That's the great thing you can use the portfolio EV for, because it's different than looking at the vacuum, which is the DFS scoring environment. And then we can still take advantage of similar information in an entirely different way and not have it impact our fantasy decisions. And it's like cash games. That's portfolio EV. We'll talk about them in a second there. But what do you like from our final game here? Is there anybody that stands out for you from the Pacers?
No, the Pacers side looks significantly worse than the OKC side. Miles Turner, another one of those guys that looks okay. Got no qualms with playing him. Siakam feels similarly about. Halliburton really projects awful for his tag. So I think you could make the case on Halliburton. He's going to be unowned and smallish slate with lack of spend-up options. But, man, he looks even worse than all those other guys we talked about that didn't project well. So I'm out on Indiana more than likely. From OKC, though, I like a lot. I mean, great spot for them. Shea looks amazing at 10-8. His price keeps coming down. Hartenstein with no Chet. Chet takes a lot of usage off the floor. So all these OKC guys get bumps. I definitely want a few pieces in any lineup I'm making. Shea, Hartenstein, Cason Wallace, who I'm a big fan of. Probably my 3 favorites. Jalen Williams is another guy that doesn't project well for his tag, but in play just because of the game environment. But really for me, it's Shea, Hartenstein, and Cason Wallace. And those 3, at least where I'm sitting, look like 3 of the top 15 plays on the slate.
Oh, this is going to be a fun one. Plus, we haven't even mentioned, but Sweet 16 is wrapping up today, though. That game just tipped off about a half hour ago. So we've got the Elite Eight starting tomorrow. This is a great time of year, Matt. Great time of year. You've got MMA, we've got golf, we got all these products covered, all these tools covered here at Stokastic. You definitely want to check this out. All right, well, let's take a turn here and see what we have from questions coming in. I just ran my FanDuel baseball lineups, and I was looking everywhere. I'm like, where are the Oakland Athletics? Why can't I find my Oakland stack? How did I not get a single stack? It's because they're abbreviated ATH, because they're not the Sacramento A's. They are for this season, sharing the home park with the Sacramento River Cats there. But yeah, ATH. So crisis averted.
I hate that. Every time I see that ATH, it bothers me mentally. You see all the cities' team names and then the ATH. God, I cannot wait till they just move to Vegas.
So anyway, yeah, it's trying to do too many things at once here, but that's okay because that's why we have all the tools here. It makes this level of insanity tolerable. All right, let me get my let's see, Rooker, Butler, Blade, Soderstrom. We got to get some lefties in there. Let's look at chat. The YouTube. Do we have any fan-funded chats? No, we do not. That is probably fine today. What do we have here? Favorite captain. There we go. For the Seattle A's slate, JJ Bleday. There's your off the board one. JJ Bleday. NASCAR. Well, I mean, yeah, the NASCAR has I forget what I hate saying their minor league. I can't remember which, but the secondary circuit is called. But yeah, that's going off today. Regular NASCAR, I believe, is tomorrow. Best place by position for DraftKings tournaments. We can do that for everybody. Let me get over and look at the data hub here. Let's clear this out. Let's look by position here. For point guard, I believe it's going to be Josh Giddey. You said you were ready to hit the proverbial lock button. Are you good with that?
No, I'm not. I just said that I would lock him over not playing him. But yeah, I could see that was misinterpreted by someone like you. So no, I'm just messing. I made it pretty clear. I like Giddey. I like Giddey a lot here. Like, yeah, if I were playing 150, I wouldn't just lock him in everywhere, but I would play a ton of him because he looks like probably the best play on the slate. He projects for over 50 fantasy points on a slate where a lot of the guys like 10K and above don't even project for that. So I think that tells you all you need to know. He's the best point guard on the slate. It's not, well, it's close just in the sense that Shea and Hero are also only point guard eligible, and there are two other really good plays on this slate. So, choosing between those guys is difficult. I think that would be the case for fading Giddey is there's other really good point guards tonight.
Fair enough. Let's look at shooting guard. We have Kobe Jones for the Wizards up in the optimal. Let's see. Oh, we got the Washington Wizards starting lineup. That is going to be Poole, Carlton Carrington, AJ Johnson, Justin Champagnie, and Alex Sarr. So I bet that's going to tweak this a little bit here. So I will refresh that. I would put AJ Johnson as your discount dandy. That hasn't been reflected yet in the tools. But let's see. Let's go back here to shooting guard. Kobe White is a strong option as well. Is Doncic shooting guard eligible? I don't think he is. No, he is not. So for me, it's going to be AJ Johnson and then Kobe White. Do you have any comments on shooting guard?
For shooting guard, for me, I think Cason Wallace. I think Colby Jones also emerging as a guy I'd feel comfortable playing. Well, comfortable is relative. I would play. Definitely wouldn't feel comfortable playing him. I don't know why I even said that, but I think just for all purposes, Cason Wallace, he's just a solid look at 4K. He's too cheap consistently.
All right. Oh, why is Colt Keith? Is he not appearing in my? There he is. We got a stack against Sasaki here. Moving back to small forward. Dun dun dun. Haywood Highsmith is appearing as our most popular play at 3,400 on DraftKings. Jalen Martin is entering the picture on for Brooklyn. Let's look at our optimal. LeBron James, probably your best point producer here. If you were picking a small forward, who would you go with? Highsmith or LeBron James?
Always tough when you got to choose between Bron and Highsmith. Man, yeah, I'm going to say none of the above and go with Colby Jones. I said Case Noel shooting guard. I'll go Colby Jones small forward. I'd rather use him at the forward position anyways.
Even coming off the bench?
Yeah, fine with it. He's cheap enough, and he's getting minutes. So I don't, I'd rather have him starting, but he's a different play then. He projects better in that regard, but his ownership is also, 5 times higher. So I don't love the small forward position tonight. I think he's my guy based on the tools right now. I think Keldon Johnson also looks pretty good, though, not going to lie.
All right. Power forward.
Power forward, I'm going to say Bam. He looks like the best option there. Projects for 43.5 fantasy points, getting a ton of ownership. So in tournaments, if you want to fade him, I don't hate it. But for me, he looks like the best option.
All right. And I would concur with Bam. Center. Bam also good at center. Are you considering Vukcevic?
Yeah, I think you have to. Still not going to go there.
Some say
he's not starting.
I know, but some say he's comparable to Wagner.
Yeah, some that don't know ball say that. So yeah, like we talked about Vukcevic earlier, his upside is still there. He's cheap, but I just think there's too much risk for me at the center spot. So I'm going to go Hartenstein. Great spot, no Chet. As long as this game's competitive, I think he's got 40 in him easily here.
All righty. Let's see what else we have. Brooklyn's starting lineup is out. Thank you. Let's go take a peek at that. Dun, dun, dun. Where is my Discord? Chris Albers, favorite Apple guy, says, work kicked me in the nuts today. Just got free. Favorite DK GPP position by position. We kind of just hit that, Chris. So if you back up about 7 minutes, you will get all of that. He also is asking for thoughts on Tosan. Is he not coming up? I didn't want to attempt his last name for Brooklyn.
Yeah,
we're projecting him for 9 minutes, but I did not get to that starting lineups, and I'm sure someone can tell me, but he's in the starting lineup. Twitter. Brooklyn. Do you have the net starting lineup?
I don't. Hold on. Did it come out? I don't think it came out, did it?
Chat said it did, but I'm not seeing it. But again, I'm an idiot, so.
Nah, it didn't come out yet. At least not from the places I look. Maybe it just came out. I just got something. So yeah, it just came out. So they are starting, or 2 minutes ago. Sorry, I don't know why it didn't load.
Yeah,
Keon, Tyrese, Cam, Zaire, Clowney.
Yeah, so I would not play Tosan at all at this point. You really needed Clowney to be out, and Day'Ron Sharp, in my opinion. We were kind of expecting.
You're already missing big men there, though. I don't think he's a bad play. I mean, I don't think he's a standout play, but I think he's in play still just because of the Nets' lack of big men here.
Let's see. I want to look at a couple other sites. Site number 1 that is not Stokastic has him for 12 minutes. Site number 2 that is not Stokastic has him for 11 minutes. And did we get our updates? What would it take for you to play in 15 minutes?
I mean, I think that would be what it would take for him to be in play.
We still have him for 8.
It's thin though. I think it's thin. You're right. Like I don't even think it's worth talking about further. It's too thin.
Okay. But that was a super chat from Chris, who has had great success in a variety of sports, variety of formats, in particular showdowns. So we want to make sure he is covered. Thank you, everybody, for putting that net starting lineup in chat there. Appreciate that. Mohammed Boss says, NBA on Saturday, always doing some BS with the lineups. You know they are. Those 7:30 lineups, is it the 8 o'clock lineups? Condensed slate. It's going to be one of those 2 windows where we get some surprise here. So, yeah, that is going to be fun. PJ Washington is playing tonight. Oh, boy. Let me see here. I have some notes on him. I'm going to just go up top of my head. So PJ Washington had a 4-game stretch. He's missed the last 2, but he had a 4-game stretch where he was playing in mid-30s again, scoring, doing everything you would want from him. However, Anthony Davis only played in 1 of those games, I believe. So, and then prior to that, Washington had essentially missed 10 of the 12 preceding games for ankle, some other soft tissue issue, and then I believe soft tissue issue. That's kind of funny. And then I believe he had personal reasons. I can't remember if it was for birth of a child, etc. But he is someone that, with this shaky front court, he's a dart throw with the way this slate is shaping into. Do you want to do a nuke of the night?
I'm going to do a double. I'm going to give my nuke of the night and my home run of the night all together, because we didn't even do that earlier, and I got a guy I like. Okay. So my nuke of the night in NBA is going to be Vucevic. No, I'm just kidding. It's going to be a guy that I feel like isn't getting the love that he should be as far as just how good he's been. And we kind of saw this last year, but it's even better this year. Is never owned where he should be in DFS. I like the spot. Give me Kobe White, shooting guard and small forward eligible. I like him a lot here. Projects well, not getting a ton of love. He looks really good to me here. And then my home run of the night, I'm going back to the Rangers. Wyatt Langford going yard.
Okay. I'm going to go with Christian Walker. That's my home run of the night.
Respect.
Who is going to be my... I don't want to... I mean, the guy I have more of than I feel comfortable with, and it's going to determine my whole slate, is Josh Giddey. But that is not... I'm not alone. I mean, he's going to be in a ton of lineups. Bam Adebayo is going to be in a ton of lineups here. I mentioned I took the under on SGA. I took the under on Grimes for their respective PRAs. The juice on that has kind of made them to where it's not advantageous at this point. But my nuke, I don't think I have one. It's not going to be Anthony Davis, because I think we mentioned Davis. I don't really see him getting more than 40 fantasy points tonight. I don't see him playing much more than he averaged around 28 minutes in his first 2 games back. I don't see him getting over 30. Do you think he's playable at all?
No. Not even a little bit. Just too expensive for the minutes. I mean, there's a lot of players on this slate that don't project well, and then there's Anthony Davis, who you just can't play right now.
Yeah, it just the upside is just it's not there because asset protection mode. So if I have to pick somebody, and I feel I should. Sorry, I'm gonna wimp out and go. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna say Haywood Highsmith. That's where I'm going with.
You know, I'm going to say this about AD. I hate backtracking, but man, because there's so many plays on this slate that don't project well, that are expensive, he's more in play than he has been. We have him right now projected for 46 fantasy points. It's like right in line with Jason Tatum, who's more expensive.
Yeah.
So like he doesn't look good, but he's not like completely out of play as I was making it sound.
If someone flips over the card, like if you're playing against somebody and you see them making a stand with say 20% of Davis, I don't think it's wrong.
Agreed.
But you're counting
I wouldn't do it, but I don't think it's wrong.
Yeah, you're more counting on other people in top level or similar salary players not performing well, and him getting to that 46 to 50 range than him getting to 60 fantasy points. I don't think that's in the cards. Unless he gets blocks like the Yankees got home runs in the third inning today, because at that point, things are cray. Let's see here. I'm putting in my FanDuel lineups now. This is kind of fun with the Stokastic. Actually, you know what I should do? I should share that tab because then you guys can see what I'm doing. Because we're going to get out of here in about 5 minutes here because we got to put the finishing touches on everything. I don't want to share that. We'll share that. I can't figure out how to change that. Stop screen. Oh, present. There we go. Stop screen. New present. Share screen. All right. There you go. You guys can watch me make my lineups here. So I ran my lineups here. Let's look at FanDuel here. Luka Doncic in 62%. I kind of like that. It's a lot of Kobe Jones, 4,200. I think that's a bit much. I'm going to put him at 40%. Timmy, we're going to cap here at 69 because that's nice. Trendon Watford, I'm okay. Tyrese Martin, I think that's a little too rich for my blood, 35. Let's see where that shakes out. Clowney is starting. So quickly doing that. And I said I need to be giddy tonight. You liked Kobe White. Oh, I only have 14%. That's not enough. And let's see, Luka, 50%. LeBron, 30%. Give him a little nudge. And that's going to do it for my FanDuel lineups. How'd that work out for us? Giddy up to 65%. I'm fine with that. I'm good with Watford. Clowney is power forward. That's all right. This looks pretty good. Above the field, doubling the field on Kobe White, almost up 50% more than Haywood Highsmith. I'm good with that. We're going to do one more little boost to Highsmith since I did say he was my nuke of the night. And I'm going to unfavorite, refavorite, get those on out of here. Let's see if we have any other questions. Otherwise, we are going to sign off because I still got to do some other stuff here. How did he go from out to starting? I don't know who we're talking about there. Jaime Jaquez, potential sleeper today, if he's back in the lineup. He very well could be. What's for dinner tonight? Ooh, that's a good question. We're having leftovers because I was going to make dinner and then the day got away from me and I didn't have time to get to the store. So I told my wife she could have the leftovers and I would find something to eat. We had pasta, salad, and what else did we have last night? We had something else, ice cream, I think it was. What do you have for dinner?
What do I have for dinner or what am I having for dinner tonight?
What are you having for dinner?
Undecided. That is a decision that's too high of a pay grade for me. So you have to ask my wife about that. We'll find out shortly after the show ends what we are having for dinner.
I believe I will be making myself an egg sandwich.
Sounds yummy.
potentially with carrots on the side and some hummus. On the Stokastic lineup page, there is a starting. Yeah, let me show you. That'll be our last little act of fun here. So if you guys go to the Stokastic homepage, we go to NBA. You see right there projected starters. This gets updated as soon as the data team has confirmed what they're doing with this. They also project who they think is going to start, and then they put notes here. So like here for Alec Burks, it says, Wiggins, Robinson, Love, and Nikola Jovic are out. Burks is available. He could start. It could be Hawquez. You could see Highsmith go back out. You mentioned Kyle Anderson, so that's our wild card there. But since we have 5 minutes to go, let's slide on out of here. I will get playback set up, but I got to get my lineup set up. I know Matt does as well. Thank you, everybody, for the craziness that is March Madness here. For those of you that were mad that you didn't see a baseball show, that's why we came early and did the first 15 minutes of that. Promo code CYCLE gets you all of the Stokastic tools for another 6 days for just $1. That's your way to get in on everything. We do have MLB Live Before Lock tomorrow for the 135 games. We have NBA Live Before Lock. It'll be either at 5 or at 6, depending on when the sites decide they're going to lock their lineups. But you'll get Matt and I for that one. I think it's Greg and Eric on the morning show for baseball. With that, hit the like button on the way out of here. We appreciate it. You guys can follow Matt on Twitter at Fantasy Tips Matt. You can find me at EMac DFS. With that, gamers, good luck.